Rolled up on the field, you know, they didn't take the check. First day one, they popped it.
Oh, I meant to tell you.
Brought mine.
See?
I have one just like that. Officially.
That made it that much better than
I did some quick.
When I was hungry, too.
It was. I know, I didn't know.
I'm over here on the island.
We're gonna call the May 22nd meeting of the Hickman County Legislative Body to order. If the clerk would call the roll.
Dusty Jordan.
Here.
Ron Mayberry.
Here.
Wiley McNair.
Here.
Carla Moore.
Here.
Ricky Murray.
Here.
Keith Nash.
Here.
Devin Pickard.
Here.
Matthew Barnhill.
Here.
Bob Callicott.
Here.
Blake Chester. Danny Clark.
Here.
Todd Collins.
Here.
Wayne Thomason.
Here.
Steve Janaki.
Here.
13 present, 1 absent.
13 present, 1 absent. We have a quorum. I apologize for not talking to any of the commissioners prior to this point of the meeting in regards to the prayer and the pledge. But if unless you guys have a problem, Commissioner Murray, would you offer us a prayer? And then Commissioner Clark, if you would lead us in the pledge.
Bow with me, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for letting us have another day of life. We thank you for everything that you give us, Father. We thank you for letting us get together tonight, discuss the business of this county. We pray, Heavenly Father, you'll guide our minds and hearts as we try to make good decisions for those that we represent. We thank you, Father, for Jesus, and we ask you to forgive us of our sins. We ask this all in his name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Each of the commissioners should have received an agenda, whether electronically or by mail. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Motion to approve by Commissioner Thomason, second by Commissioner Jordan. Okay. Any discussion? Commissioner Collins.
I'd like to make a motion that we move, resolution 2314 and 2315 to just after the approval of the agenda.
Have a motion by Commissioner Collins to move resolution 2314 and 2315 after the agenda. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Giannakis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Those items have been moved. Any other discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, all those that vote to approve, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We have an agenda that has been approved, modified and approved. At this time, resolution 2314 is to name a state bridge in the memory of Sammy Joe Durham, Hickman County, Tennessee. The sponsors of this resolution are Commissioner Pickard and Commissioner Murray. Do either of you wish to speak to this matter? Commissioner Murray.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Hickman County Highway Department met and discussed the name of the bridge over Beaver Dam on Highway 100. This is in the Beaver Dam area. After Mr. Sammy Joe Durham, he is a WW2 veteran, and if you read the biography, he is noted for a couple of heroic acts in there from his fellow soldiers. He seemed to be a very brave man. He was raised about a half a mile from this bridge in that area, and it came before the highway department and got a unanimous vote. Everybody down there voted for it, and it's just a good way to honor one of our past veterans. That's all I have to say.
Are there any members of the family of Mr. Durham here with us tonight? If you'll stand and be recognized, we appreciate that. Any other discussion on resolution 2314? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Dusty Jordan,
Yes.
Ron Mayberry,
Yes.
Wiley McNair,
Yes.
Carla Moore,
Yes.
Ricky Murray,
Yes.
Keith Nash,
Yes.
David Pickard,
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill,
Yes.
Paul Calcott,
Yes.
Danny Clark,
Yes.
Todd Collins.
Yes.
Wayne Thomas.
Yes.
Steve Janowski.
Yes.
13 present, 1 absent.
Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
13 present, 1 absent.
Resolution 2314 is adopted. Thank you and appreciate your family service to the country. 2315 is rezoning property located at 3658 Highway 100 in Centerville, Tennessee from A1 Agriculture Forestry District to C1 General Commercial District. The sponsors of this resolution are Commissioner Collins and Commissioner Barnhill. Do either of you wish to speak to this matter? Commissioner Collins.
This property is adjacent to where War Shops is now. It's Willie Allen owns the property there, and what he's wanting to do is move his Craftsman truck race team from the current building that it's in, which he's split between 2 teams, over to this new building, which will include a showroom. People can come in and watch as the work is done, pick up souvenirs, different things. Training room, they've got engineers that work there. It's just a state-of-the-art complex in Hickman County. If you don't know anything about NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, Hickman County has its own professional sports team, and that is through Horsepower War Racing. So they're looking to have this zoned commercial. They really asked me today to encourage anybody that wants to stop by and take a tour, take a look at it. I think there had been some questions earlier that Mr. Kendrick was here to speak on behalf of them, that due to just growing pains, a lot of improvements will be made there for sound improvements. This shop here that's coming in will have no sound coming out of it at all. It will be there to assemble, to prep, and to load out of, and to represent Bradley War Racing to the public through that, with very little people will. Most people will come in from out of state to look at it anyway, so, but that's what we're looking at tonight, is to change that from A1 to C1.
Commissioner Barnhill.
It meets all the criteria, and I urge everybody to vote.
Does anyone else wish to speak to resolution 2315? Commissioner Thompson.
I would say that it is a massive building. It is a sister building to one that's already existing. But like Todd said, there'll be no sound come out of it, but it is big. I worked for 3 or 4 days putting in drop ceiling, and it's 64 foot wide and 96 foot length. That's not counting the apartments on each end of it, not apartments, but the building rooms that's on each end of it. But it is a thing to see, and Chad and his team came in 3rd place in the race Friday night, so. Not to mention they won Talladega. Thank you.
Any other discussions on resolution 2315? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Dusty Jordan.
Yes.
Ron Mayberry,
Yes.
Wiley McNair,
Yes.
Carla Moore,
Yes.
Ricky Murray,
Yes.
Keith Nash,
Yes.
David Pickard,
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill,
Yes.
Paul Calcott,
Yes.
Danny Clark,
Yes.
Todd Collins,
Yes.
Wayne Thomason,
Yes.
Steve Janowski.
Yes.
13 present, or 13 yes, 1 absent.
13 yes, 1 absent. Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
13 yes, 1 absent.
13 yes, 1 absent. Resolution 2315 is adopted. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the April 24th meeting. Those were included in your packet. Chair would entertain motions to approve. Motion approved by Commissioner Thomason, second by Commissioner Callicott. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes are adopted. The chair is unaware of any special special recognitions, memorials, or commendations. Does anyone have anything to bring forward at this time? Under elections, appointments, and confirmations, it was not in the packet. And I apologize, we just, were not able to get them in. The public library has put forth the names of the people that they would like to be on that public library board for the next year. Those names are as follows: Brian Graham, Cindy Chesser, Ashley Barnhill, and Jennifer Hudgens. Now, I did not, again, was not included in the packet. They would like this to be addressed, but they also understand if there's an objection, we can't do it tonight. So what I'm gonna ask is there objection for us to put forth those names to approve tonight in regards to the library board? Seeing no objection, the names have been brought forward from the board to have Mr. Brian Graham, Miss Cindy Chesser, Miss Ashley Barnhill, and Miss Jennifer Hudgens to be the next slate of folks on the Hickman County Library Board. The chair would entertain a motion to approve that list. Motion by Commissioner Clark, second by Commissioner Collins. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Dusty Jordan.
Yes.
Ron Mayberry.
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
Carla Moore.
Yes.
Ricky Murray.
Yes.
Keith Nash.
Yes.
David Pickard.
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill.
Pass.
Paul Calcott.
Yes.
Danny Clark.
Yes.
Todd Collins.
Yes.
Wayne Thomas.
Yes.
Steve Janai.
Yes.
We have 12 yes, 1 pass, 1 absent.
12 yes, 1 pass, 1 absent. Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
12 yes, 1 pass, 1 absent.
Thank you. Those have been approved, and we will communicate with the library board, the library director, to tell them that that was approved tonight. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
We have 4 individuals who have been put forth to be approved as notaries. They are Miss Susan Anglin, Miss Candy Clark, Miss Penelope Mayberry, and I think Miss Trace Michelle Waller. 4 names to be put forth as approved as notaries. The chair would entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Barnhill, second by Commissioner Giannakis. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Dusty Jordan.
Yes.
Ron Mayberry.
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
Carla Moore.
Yes.
Ricky Murray.
Yes.
Keith Nash.
Yes.
David Pickard.
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill.
Yes.
Paul Calcott.
Yes.
Danny Clark.
Yes.
Todd Collins.
Yes.
Wayne Thomason.
Yes.
Steve Janai.
Yes.
13 yes, 1 absent.
13 yes, 1 absent. Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
13 yes, 1 absent.
13 yes, 1 absent. The notaries are approved. The chair is unaware of any other appointments or approval of bonds. Does anything need to be brought forward at this time? I'm also unaware of any special reports, quarterly or annual, approved. Does anything need to be brought forward? Next item on your agenda is a communication from the county mayor. County mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last Tuesday, well, on 5/9, we had a kickoff meeting for the EMS station at Pinewood. It consisted of myself, the EMS crew, a couple of commissioners. They kinda laughed when they said it was impossible, the land needed to be surveyed. I told them it'd be done next week, it was done the following day. So I turned the plat over to them. All they gotta do is mark the building so we can go proceed with the septic. My office is putting together, information on the solid waste director for the end of November to be running in the county newspaper as well as the website to replace Mr. Tuberville when he does retire. So we're just trying to get a jump start on that, and we're trying to obtain all the information now so we can get a good presentation out of the paper as well as the website. You do have in your package there is an interlocal agreement. We'll talk more about that when the time comes. It is between Hickman County and the Hickman County Highway Department. I see Ronald's not here tonight, so I guess I'm on my own. What it is, it's just for smaller jobs for the county, so that we won't have to go bid it out. We can just get someone to do it. Basically, in a nutshell. Any questions for me?
Does anybody have any questions for the mayor? Thank you, sir. The next item on the agenda are monthly committee and board reports. First up is Planning Commission. I know that there's some minutes in there.
All right.
Is anything from the Planning Commission? There's 3 members here. If you got any questions, we'll try to answer. All right, seeing none. Solid Waste Committee.
Yes, we did meet, minutes are in the packet. One thing to bring up, as the mayor pointed out, Marty Tuberville, the solid waste director, will be retiring in November or no later than first of the year if needed. What we need guidance on here is how we want to interview and select that person. Discussion was made that when we did Marty, it was by the solid waste committee, but I know we also have the nominating committee, so I want to get the guidance of everyone as which way we want to go with selecting this individual.
Does anyone have any questions for the Solid Waste Committee?
If not, we'll do it ourselves.
Say
If
again?
not, we'll do it ourselves.
Health, Safety, and Properties Committee.
We met, minutes are in the packet. And, we also approved the wage, salary, and benefits for the sheriff. I have a copy here if anybody, we need to approve them tonight in the full committee. We've done it in that committee, and I got a copy here if anybody needs it.
The chair of that committee is making a motion that we approve the wage, salary, and benefits general order 511. Is that correct? Yeah, everyone heard who was in that meeting. I have a second by Commissioner Collins. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't confuse me.
Yes. Ron Mayberry,
Yes.
Wiley McNair,
Yes.
Carla Moore,
Yes.
Ricky Murray,
Yes.
Keith Nash,
Yes.
Devin Pickard,
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill,
Yes.
Bob Callicott,
Yes.
Danny Clark,
Yes.
Todd Collins,
Yes.
Wayne Thomas.
Yes.
Steve Janai.
Yes.
13 yes, 1 absent.
13 yes, 1 absent. Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
13 yes, 1 absent.
13 yes, 1 absent. The general order is approved.
Mr. Chairman, I had a thought after we left solid waste.
if the hire, I just wanna point this out so we can think about it, we don't have to fix it tonight, but the solid waste committee is one of those that will change at the end of August. If this is done, that would be a bad time to be changing a committee that's looking into hiring. So, we don't have to fix it now, but that's something we might think about when we put together a plan on hiring a director that the solid waste committee may completely turn over at the end of August.
Thank you, Commissioner Clark, for completely changing my brain for a moment. Just give me a second, I'll push back up. Commissioner Barnhill, you still have the floor.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Any questions? I'm sorry, I'm not as young as I used to be. It takes me a minute to catch back up there, Dave. Health, Safety, and Properties Committee. Any questions for Health, Safety, and Properties Committee? Finance Committee.
We did meet, the minutes are in your packet. Also, I have the, April financial report I would like to put forward for approval.
I have a motion by Commissioner Jordan to approve the April financial summary, which was included in your packet. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Calcott. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Dusty Jordan,
Yes.
Ron Mayberry,
Yes.
Wiley McNair,
Yes.
Carla Moore,
Yes.
Ricky Murray, Keith Nash,
Yes.
Devin Pickard,
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill,
Yes.
Paul Calcott,
Yes.
Danny Clark,
Yes.
Todd Collins,
Yes.
Wayne Thompson,
Yes.
Steve Janai.
Yes.
13 yes, 1 absent.
13 yes, 1 absent. Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
13 yes, 1 absent.
Financial summary is approved. Anything else from the finance committee?
I'm ready unless anybody has any questions.
Any questions? Budget, Finance, and Human Resources Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Budget Committee did meet this month, and the minutes are in the packet. We have 16 budget amendments that need approval tonight. 13 are simple budget cleanup items within the respective departmental budgets, which I'd like to present in the aggregate to save time and essence of time. And then I'll present and explain the other 3 individually that hit the county reserve fund balance. So first, the cleanup amendments are, and by the way, commissioners, they are not in numerical order in your books. The cleanup amendments are simply 2359, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 69, 70, 71, 72, and 73. I move to approve these amendments.
I have a motion by Commissioner Moore to approve budget amendments 23-59, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 69, 70, 71, 72, and 73. I have a second by Commissioner Pickard. Is there any objection to taking those in the group? Seeing none, any discussion on those on those budget amendments? Seeing no discussion, roll call vote.
Dusty Jordan,
Yes.
Ron Mayberry,
Yes.
Wiley McNair,
Yes.
Carla Moore,
Yes.
Ricky Murray,
Yes.
Keith Nash,
Yes.
Devin Pickard,
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill,
Yes.
Paul Calcott,
Yes.
Danny Clark,
Yes.
Todd Collins,
Yes.
Wayne Thompson,
Yes.
Steve Janai.
Yes.
13 yes, 1 absent.
13 yes, 1 absent. Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
13 yes, 1 absent.
13 yes, 1 absent. Those budget amendments are approved. Commissioner Moore.
Thank you. And now the amendments that have requested additional money from the county reserve fund balance. These are, and I will do these individually. 2360 is seeking $8,500 for county clerk employee salary supplements. And the money actually came from the state. I move to approve this amendment.
Have a motion to approve budget amendment 23-60 by Commissioner Moore, second by Commissioner Thomason. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Dusty Jordan.
Yes.
Ron Mayberry.
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
Carla Moore.
Yes.
Ricky Murray.
Yes.
Keith Nash.
Yes.
Devin Pickard.
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill.
Yes.
Paul Calcott.
Yes.
Danny Clark.
Yes.
Todd Collins.
Yes.
Wayne Thomas.
Yes.
Steve Janaki.
Yes.
With 13 yes, 1 absent.
13 yes, 1 absent. Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
13 yes, 1 absent.
Budget amendment 2360 is approved. Commissioner Moore.
2368 is seeking $82,000 for solid waste for the increased cost in disposal fees. I move to approve this amendment.
Have a motion by Commissioner Moore to approve budget amendment 2368 and a second by Commissioner Barnhill. Any discussion? Commissioner Thomas.
Just to point out, that is from the solid waste fund balance and not the general fund balance.
That's the point here.
Any further discussion on 23 budget amendment 2368? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Dusty Jordan.
Yes.
Ron Mayberry.
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
Carla Moore.
Yes.
Ricky Murray.
Yes.
Keith Nash.
Yes.
Devin Pickard.
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill.
Yes.
Paul Calcott.
Yes.
Danny Clark.
Yes.
Todd Collins.
Yes.
Wayne Thompson.
Yes.
Steve Janaki.
Yes.
13 yes, 1 absent.
13 yes, 1 absent. Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
13 yes, 1 absent.
13 yes, 1 absent. Budget amendment 2368 is approved. Commissioner Moore.
And lastly, Amendment 2374 is seeking $247,000 for the sheriff for additional dispatcher services and medical dental benefits. I move to approve this amendment.
Have a motion by Commissioner Moore to approve 23-74. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner McNair. Any discussion? Commissioner Thompson, I apologize.
I would point out that this is medical, part of it is, the biggest part of it is medical expense, which we have to pay, whether we like it or not, but, and the other part is the $65,000 for the dispatchers that we supposedly have to pay 50% of, according to the resolution that's out there. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on the budget amendment 23-74? Roll call vote.
Dusty Jordan.
Yes.
Ron Mayberry.
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
Carla Moore.
Yes.
Ricky Murray.
Yes.
Keith Nash.
Yes.
Devin Pickard.
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill.
Yes.
Paul Calcott.
Yes.
Danny Clark.
Yes.
Todd Collins.
Yes.
Wayne Thomason.
Yes.
Steve Janaki.
Yes.
13 yes, 1 absent.
Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
13 yes, 1 absent.
13 yes, 1 absent. Budget amendment 2374 is approved.
One final point. The commissioners agreed at our budget work session last Thursday to meet again tonight after we adjourn here. We did not get it completed. So we will resume the work session with the goal of completing the budget tonight. That is our intention, to get that balanced and completed tonight. As a reminder for everyone, anyone else who wanted to be here. So that's it. There's nothing else, Chairman. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions, for the budget committee? Health Foundation did not meet. Any questions for the Health Foundation? Public records. Economic and community development.
Yes, our board did meet last Thursday, so I don't have any minutes to put in the packet yet, but they will be in the next meeting. But I would like to share, for everyone interested in this room and beyond, do not assume or presume that I have influenced Dixon Water Authority, the Dixon mayors, Dixon Industrial Development Board, or any of their leaders regarding the proposed wastewater permit to discharge into a creek. Fact, at the invitation of the past two mayors, I did meet with Dixon Water Authority, where we were made aware of a proposed study to grow their sewer capacity. No waterways were discussed, no location for the lines or the facility, no discharge amounts, nothing other than the Dixon Water Authority telling us that said project would benefit Dixon, Fairview, and East Hickman growth in those areas. Fact, I have spent the last year asking questions of experts and engineers and trying to sort through the implications and benefits of said project. I encourage others to do the same and have encouraged others to do the same. What I do attempt to influence and advocate for are grants for home improvements for our elderly and disadvantaged, grants for our city and county recreation parks, grants for industrial access roads, grants for art murals and beautification, downtown improvements, sidewalks, walking trails, literacy campaign, ambulances, water and sewer improvements for the health and welfare of our people, planned infrastructure that supports the attraction of a workforce that wants to live and work in Hickman County, growth that allows us to retain our high school graduates who wish to remain in Hickman County, to live and work instead of going on to college, growth which encourages our college graduates to return home to live and work affordably in Hickman County, growth to retain and expand our existing industry, growth for our micro and small businesses, so many of which are mom and pop's businesses struggling to survive in an area surrounded by greater opportunities, and growth for our tourism industries to grow our sales tax base. This I do with the support of my board of directors. Both of our mayors serve on that, as well as other members. I hope you support this effort too. I won't be here tonight for the rest of the budget meeting, but I do hope that you will consider fully funding Hickman County economic development. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Brock? I believe in that presentation, Ms. Brock, you said that you would not be here for the budget?
Pardon?
That you would not be here for the budget meeting? Okay. Any questions for Ms. Brock? In light of that, the chair has some questions for Ms. Brock, and I will be happy to step down in order to ask those questions, even though there's not any pending legislation.
Mr. Nash, I assume you have a question for Ms. Block.
I do, and actually, I was actually thinking that we were gonna do this during the budget, so I'm gonna take a moment to get my brain around this. When this particular body took office, in September. And a new mayor took office in September. In consideration of all the turmoil that we had gone through for the preceding months, the very, very first person that I called on that morning was Ms. Brown. And she was kind enough to meet with me. And we met, and we had, I thought, a very good conversation. The most enlightening thing that came out of that conversation, and I'm not sure how we stumbled into it, and I apologize, was Ms. Brock discussing and telling me how she viewed her role in this big picture called economic community development. And it had to do with being a facilitator, looking out for information, and taking the information back to the decision makers. That was your word. Instead of me stumbling through that, why don't you just share with everybody, if you can. I mean, I'm sure that's your boilerplate answer, which is great. What your thoughts are in regards to how you perceive your job in relationship with various entities in the county. That facilitator, information, decision maker. I think that was the word that you used.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can repeat it exactly.
No, and I can't repeat it exactly either, so that's why I'm asking you to do it.
You know, there's only so much that me, myself, and I can influence in the course of a day in the job of the Director of Economic Development. Our office is, there are 9 board members, of which the school superintendent is on, both mayors. There's a small business person, which is John Porch, an insurance company. He's also the representative for the Greenbelt. And then we have Rob Mitchell, who is our workforce development person. We have someone from the hospital, it's appointed by Kevin Campbell, I'm sorry. There's someone on the board that represents one of the biggest utilities in the county, which is a requirement, and that's Keith Carnahan. He's appointed someone to that role. And then Kelly Tyler is our large business and industry. And Jim Tanner's been on the board as our public safety I don't think I left anybody out. But anyway, you know, we attempt to do things with the budget that we're given by the city and the county and grants that we're in the way of economic development, mostly to serve our industry and create jobs. That's been our motive for 20-some years, create opportunities and grow jobs. So, we can't really do that without your financial support and your support, and the mayors must, you know, input and they kind of guide the direction.
Well, I mean, during the course of that conversation, we discussed, or you explained to me that, you know, you have this position that you go out and you get all this information and you bring it back to the people who are the ones who are there to make the decisions.
Sure.
And you know, and at least it appeared to me in the course of that discussion that, you know, in the confines of the city of Centerville, there's a city council, and within the broader spectrum, there's the county commission, who is in the legislative body here, who is there to make that. And I thought, I mean, again, you and I both have stumbled through that tonight, but I thought, my goodness, that's a great way of looking at how we're to perform and to do this work. And obviously that was not, you know, when I went there, September, whatever it was, I can't remember, maybe it was September 1st. But whatever that day was, that's how we started off our conversation. Ultimately, you know, the questions that I had for Ms. Brock were conversations surrounding, the activity of the water authority in the county. And I mean, and again, I was just trying to figure out from her what type of interface had occurred. And I'm not, and if I step out too far, please stop me and I'll give you the floor. But in the course of this conversation, I think as you pointed out in your narrative just a moment ago, during the term of Mayor Lawson, either you or he had received a phone call from the water authority at which you and he collectively went to Dixon and sat down with them, and this subject of their intentions was at least introduced. Is that a fair way of saying that?
What I said in my statement is, at the invitation of the two mayors, I did not get the call from Nixon Water Authority. Both mayors were invited at different times to go speak, and both mayors invited me to go with, not knowing what, but because we're going to see Nixon Water Authority. And it was broadly put out there to us.
And again, that's exactly what Ms. Brock told me back in September. And when you count, and you know, for me, when you couch that conversation in the backdrop of how you laid forth the way you viewed your job, it made perfect sense. The decision maker, your boss, the mayor, knew very well what was going on. And so the fact that it was, at that point in time, Mr. Lawson, the fact that information didn't go out publicly to the members at this time of that body, or the county more broadly, was really not something up for you to decide. I mean, you felt like the mayor had all the information, and it was really up to that person to disseminate that information as they saw fit, and it was the betterment of the county, to the members of this body and whoever else that would be the decision makers. And I thought that's great. And then we went on, and I believe that you said there was a similar situation that occurred during the term of Mayor Bentley. I mean, kind of a similar thing. Y'all got a phone call. You or he, somebody got a phone call.
He did, again.
And then you went with him.
At his invitation.
At his invitation to the water authority. And again, more plans of the water authority were, they were out there. We're continuing to march. Is that how you would describe it?
Again, the conversation with Mayor Bentley was almost duplicate of what was with Mayor Lawson. There were no maps, there were no plans, there was nothing. It was just a conversation. I felt like there was a new mayor coming in, so here we are. And nothing more was added. I didn't take away anything more information than what I had the first time. I still didn't know what waterways or what they were really trying to, where they were gonna go with it.
And again, the conversation that Ms. Brock and I had back in September is pretty similar to what we're having here tonight. And again, when you look at that situation in the backdrop of how you viewed your job, again, information, decision makers, the decision maker, one of your bosses, the mayor, is right there. Heard everything. And so I could understand why that, okay, 4 years later, we're still where we're at. There's no reason, if the mayor's not wanting to disseminate that information broadly, county commissioners, Hickman County as a whole, whoever, it's up to him, because, you know, you're sitting there doing that work. At that point, did you have a conversation with your board, or anybody on the board, about what or the industrial board, about what the water authority was attempting to do, or thinking about it?
No,
Okay.
I mean, we never in our board even had a conversation. When the permit was posted on January 4th or whatever day it was, our office got a call. I think I was called maybe before the mayor's office was called, I think. Because somebody that knew me, knew how to get to me after and told me about the permit, and I was like, whoa, I had no idea. And, I mean, all we knew was some study was being done at some point to do something, somewhere, some way, some answers. And, you know, I hear a lot of things all day, every day. I don't report everything to you all because oftentimes it doesn't seem like it's relevant. It hasn't grown legs enough for me to come to you. I can't speak for why either mayor didn't add more at the time, but at the time what we were given was a study was being done to improve, you know, to grow. And there was a lot of activity around, you know, incorporating East Hickman. There was obviously activity on the 23 acres, the 8 acres, the industrial park on Highway 7. I'm sure that both mayors and I took away with, well, this could be a benefit, but we don't know anything, so what are we gonna tell people? There's gonna be a study done. It may, in my mind, it would've just been a blip on the radar. Nobody probably would've thought too more sense about it at the time with what we had, because we didn't have any information. I forgot to make a question.
No, okay.
I'm sorry,
Well,
that's talking.
But at the end, you know, obviously we're looking at this in the rearview mirror. I mean, I would have loved if a Mayor Lawson or a Mayor Bentley would have come and said, hey, here's what I'm hearing. Because commissioners on this that are here tonight have often said, well, you know, part of the issue that we have is since we haven't been going to any meetings and we're uninformed, that you know, and I disagree with this, that we bear a burden, the county bears a burden for lack of engagement. And so it would certainly have been something that would have made us more thoughtful about that engagement if we even knew that there was something going on. I mean, we didn't know, at least I didn't know. Most commissioners didn't know. Maybe a few did, I'm unaware of that. But we had two mayors that knew. And I understand completely Ms. Brock's position, as she articulated earlier. My job is to get the information and give it to the decision makers. There's two decision makers. We had two different mayors who had some inkling of something and chose to hold those cards close to their vest so that we didn't know what in the world was going on until a news report came out in January about a piece of paper that was on the side of the highway. And then all of this started to snowball and to develop, and here we are today. And so I mean, in September, I sat there and I listened to everything that you said. I said, if I was her, I mean, goodness gracious, your boss knows about it. You don't go around your boss. Then a few weeks ago, there was a meeting in Dixon. And during the course of that meeting, a citizen of this county asked an extraordinarily pertinent question to the assembled folks in that meeting. A meeting that had not been broadly cast. But hundreds showed up. Hundreds. The meeting was conducted by Mayor Ryle, the county mayor of Dixon, Mayor Weiss, the city mayor of Dixon, Mr. Mike Adams, the executive director of the Water Authority, and there were assembled folks. Also, a lot of commissioners from Dixon County were there. I think almost all of the council people from the city of Dixon were in attendance. Numerous developers and contractors from Hickman County were there, some of which happened to be commissioners. And a citizen of this county, in the course of that discussion, asked a very straightforward question of, I believe it was Mayor Weiss, and said, here we are tonight. Who did you, Mayor Weiss, did y'all let anybody in Hickman County know? Because y'all are soliciting a regional solution for a regional problem. That's how they wanted to couch this very hastily called meeting. There was some stumbling on the part of Mayor Weiss, but eventually he pointed and said, yes, we have reached out to Hickman County. And the person that we reached out to Hickman County to inform them of this very important meeting about a regional solution for a regional problem was you. Is that correct?
I don't recall him saying that at all. I recall the person in the room saying, hey, the mayor's not here in Hickman County. Who was gonna invite him? And what I recall about was the Mayor White stumbled because he didn't know. He didn't know who got reached out to. And he pointed to Daryl James. And Daryl James looked over at me and he said, so I did get a call from Daryl James 2 days before the meeting, to which I sent out an email to the board of directors, including the mayor, and inviting them to the meeting. I mean, it was just as simple as that.
So
Yeah, I don't recall the Mayor Weiss even said that I was contacted, because I think I remember him stumbling and looking at Daryl, and Daryl looked over at me and he said, Brenda, he said, the mayor got invited, right?
No, okay. You were the point of contact for the city.
I did not hear from Mayor Weiss. I heard from Daryl James.
Okay. Who is a board member from the Water Authority.
I don't know what his role is, I really don't, but.
He is one of the board members of the Water Authority.
To alert people, and I sent an email out to my board of directors at that point.
And did you try to, beyond an email that was just broadcast, did you try to reach out to the Hickman County mayor?
I'm sure I probably did.
Were you able to get a hold of him?
What's that?
Were you able to get a hold of him?
I can't confirm that I called or texted or walked across the street, but it's been very difficult to go across the street and find him in the office or for him to be there. So I'm sure that, I mean, I didn't treat him any different than I treated anybody else on the board. for that invitation. And yes, it was an important meeting, but I assumed that as important as that meeting was, that Daryl wasn't calling. Daryl didn't call and say, hey, invite everybody. Daryl called and said, we're having a meeting, and left it on me, which I personally thought was inappropriate to think that the invitation should fall on me to let the bigger body of people to know 2 days before an event. I checked with Brad Martin on Friday the week before, because I was sure the Dixon Water Authority or the mayor's offices had put an invitation in the Hickman County Times so that everybody could be aware of the meeting. And Brad said, no. And I was stunned, I was surprised. So, you know, I can't think the fact that I tried to walk, I'm sure I probably did. I'm sure I walked across it because it was important enough for the mayor to be there, but it wasn't. You know, I'm very disappointed in the fact that when that question came up, Mayor Weeks should have been able to say, I called his office. I feel very strongly that he should have called, Mayor Ross should have called, Dixon Water Authority should have called. There should have been a lot of calls made to the mayor. It should not have been my responsibility to make that call. I did send an email, and I sent it to the whole board. And would hope, I was kind of looked around the room and was hoping that Jim was there. Didn't know who we were gonna walk into, who was gonna be there. I don't know who all the members are of their body, but I could look around the room and tell you who of our body was there.
Beyond sending an email to your board of directors, did you send out any other emails or communicate with others who were not part of your board of directors in regards to this particular regional solution meeting about a regional problem with these two mayors?
Probably not. I mean, I know that in some of the industrial development boards, we discussed it prior to that meeting. You know, we discussed and we had different feelings and different views in the industrial development board about the particular permit, especially being discharged into Lick Creek, but you know, they were just conversations around growth and how do we support that. But again, when that invitation, when that invite, when Daryl picked up the phone and called me, he invited me. And I honestly was very put out that it was 2 days before the event and that there was no expectation. I didn't get anything from Daryl that this needed to go to a multitude of people. I assumed that Dixon Water Authority was doing their job and inviting the important decision makers, because every one of you and every one of the IDB and every one of the mayors and every constituent should have saw it in the newspaper.
So you're unaware, let me back up. After you received that phone call from Mr. James, who's a member, sitting member of the Water Authority of Dixon County Board, about this meeting, you sent out an email to the board, but did not specifically send out any other emails and or communicate to others off that board that this meeting was about to occur.
No, just because I still thought that some kind of way Dixon Water Authority would widely, my information from Daryl was there was going to be an email blast. You know, he didn't ask me for contacts, he didn't ask me for information, he didn't, again, you know, I thought that was not a good use of our office, I mean, I have all that, and I would have gladly gave them every contact that I have, but I was never asked for that. And I can't tell you what else was going on that week, that I, again, sent it to the board. I think I thought about sending it to the IDB, but probably got a phone call, something happened. But I was assured that they were doing, this was such an important meeting, that they were doing what they should be doing. That invitation did not reside with our office, it should have resided with them. And I came away from that meeting feeling that, very strongly, very disappointed that the mayor was not personally invited. Should have, all day long. Yeah, my husband was told a week before in a meeting by the economic development director of Dixon County that she was gonna reach out to me. She's new, I don't have her contact information. He gave her my business card, she never called. There's been no conversation throughout. Not enough relevance. Could have emailed blast everybody, I could have, should have, but I really thought that that's what they were doing. That's what I thought. Daryl didn't say, and I don't see Daryl, I honestly, I never knew him about the water authority board. He's just judge that I've been working with for 20 years on projects. I don't know what role he plays in other things. I've heard it's not before that he's on the board, but I don't believe that he's on the board. But that, yes.
So several times in this conversation, you said that you were disappointed in the water authority's actions. So, you know, you're an economic development professional, and you understand that this has been an extraordinarily difficult situation that's placed the people of the county, Hickman County, in. So what do you think would have been the appropriate thing in light of these two mayors in a very, you know, again, a very broad, elaborate meeting, couched as a regional problem and regional solutions, and they're really struggling how that they can handle this regionally as opposed to a county. What do you think the appropriate, and you're the professional here, what do you think the appropriate?
Are you talking about that meeting that night?
Absolutely, yeah, let's just talk about that meeting. It's really easy.
Because, I mean, there was no broad meeting before that. There was no, our office was never invited prior to that to any meetings, other than to the mayor. But I wish that they would have reached out to our office and asked us for some input on the slides. I would have, you know, I mean, I could verify things if I saw the slides come up. I could say, yes, we're doing this, and yes, we've been doing that. And actually, I may have been added more. You know, we were never, our office was never asked for the socio-economic impact of infrastructure up there. Although we do feel it would be great. And in a lot of ways, it would be wonderful. But we didn't know that it was going to be Lick Creek, Piney Creek, Duck River, Cumberland, Hartford, whatever. We didn't know. And I do think that, that's my personal opinion, that the meeting in April was too little too late. That we did not have, they had this meeting in March of last year when we were all wandering around and seeing information, misinformation, pictures of wrong, you know, pictures that make you think things inappropriately about things. I lost the word trying to get there. The meeting in April of this year was a reaction to a proposed denial of the permit. And I dare say that our office, when we touch a grant, when we touch a project, if we want it, we get it. If Dixon Water Authority had approached our office and given us intel, and that Mark or Sean, which Sean didn't have any, but if Mark had gotten any information we can share prior to the posting on January 4th, and we could have got behind it and got you all as additional decision makers, because decision makers in my world are not the mayors, they are you. They're a way, a walkway to the bigger body of people. But I think Dixon Water Authority has done too little too late.
My question was,
Commissioner, you still for,
I just wanna know what this has to do with what we started out on. I mean, I understand where you're going.
No, well, my question
And
is,
I do,
this is the only opportunity that we have
okay, you keep going.
to have a discussion with Ms. Brock, period.
Brock, I just wanna-
Once a month, we have an opportunity. I didn't know there's no venue, there's no pertinent legislation on the floor. This is just a discussion, and it very well may be pertinent to the discussion that we have later on in the course of the budget. And so I'm just trying
Are you
to,
talking about her raise? That they're gonna-
well, yeah, well, that's,
Everybody
performance
realize
objectives.
that she is defending her raise.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it's tied in with the most sensitive thing in this county, the Save Lit Creek project. That everything that we have done, all of our budget is tied into the Save Lit Creek project. And Ms. Brock, I want to remind you that you are on camera. He's leading you into questions that could probably come up in court at a later time if you're not careful, so I just want to put everything in perspective here. But you're doing a great job, thank you.
And I think you're doing a great job too, I'm just asking questions.
And that's fine.
So let me back up, I'm sorry.
All right, I just want to make sure we was all, that this has to do with our raise.
So you said that there was a disappointment in the way they behaved. But the only thing that you said that you were disappointed in is that they didn't contact, that I feel like you said, is that they didn't contact your office to get some more flavor and stuff in the information. Is there something else in regards to the April meeting that you're disappointed in, that they did?
Or any, I mean, to my knowledge, they didn't ever reach out again and give us more information. The mayor, Mayor Bentley, or my office. Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed in that. I think that we could have helped move this in a different direction with factual information sooner, with other solutions possibly, or better education of, where we are. I think growth is needed, planned growth is needed in Hickman County. I'm not up here to defend my raise, I'm up here to defend economic development and the office and the work that happens in economic development. My board has solicited for me to have a raise. But I can't do what I do in our office, all the other things, without the funding from the city and the county. And I can't control everything, unfortunately. And yes, I am disappointed. I do think that there was a way to do this as a regional thing, and involve us in it. And involve our office, the mayor's office, county commissioners. Here we are. And it isn't proposed enough. I dare say that if our office had been involved, it wouldn't be. It might not have been the creek, it might have been the Cumberland, I don't know, but we didn't have a chance, nor did Mayor Bentley, to my knowledge. And I don't know that he didn't report to you that he came, because you all saw his reports, or most of y'all did, they were pretty detailed. Where he went, when he went, how long he was there. Pages of information. I don't document that. I have it in my calendar, but I don't document that kind of stuff out for y'all to gather if I needed to. But he always touched on those things, so I can't say that he did or didn't. I don't know that you could either.
Mr. Collins,
When they're done, I'd like to wait till they're done.
okay,
When Mr. Nash is done there.
okay.
So again, the disappointment that you have is that, again, specifically talking about this April meeting, that they didn't reach out to you earlier to get more information that would be supporting of their position on the slides that they presented that night. And also, it seems like that you're disappointed that they didn't reach out more broadly to the mayor specifically, maybe this body, or its predecessors generally, and say, hey, we have this regional problem, we're looking for a regional solution. And again, that meeting was announced prior to the decision by TDEC for the denial. The denial came in the interim after the meeting was announced and before the actual meeting began.
I feel like the proposed denial came out on Monday, and I think I heard about I knew that there was gonna be a meeting the week before, because I asked Brad to be watching for it. And then I believe the proposal now came out on Monday or Tuesday, and then I was contacted after that by Daryl. And then they had the meeting.
Now, I know this has been a challenging situation for all of us. And again, I was extraordinarily sympathetic in September when you and I discussed this about the position that it put you in. You know, I felt, and I still feel like, after all the turmoil that this has gone through, with you having received a personal call from a member of the Water Authority Board, prominent member of the Water Authority Board, that it would have been, we talk about disappointed. That was your word, that you're disappointed. I'm disappointed that after that you got that information, that was not communicated broadly to the mayor, to this body, that this meeting had been called, and that only through other channels, non-Hickman County channels, were many of us alerted that this particular meeting had been called. It's put us all in a challenging, you know, this is a mess. And hopefully we're gonna get to the end of the mess shortly. And hopefully at the end of the mess, we can start to rebuild some relationships and some trust and some correct some disappointments. Again, using your term, disappointment. To my fellow commissioners, I was prepared to answer all these questions last month in our regular county court meeting. Ms. Brock wasn't here. I did not feel like that the first initial budget meeting that we had where Ms. Brock was there was the appropriate time to ask these very specific questions. And I appreciate you answering those questions, Tony. I yield the floor.
Mr. Collins?
Ms. Brock, I just want to commend you on the job that you do. It was stated the other night in the budget meeting that you did not represent District 4 or District 5 in the way that they want to be represented, but you have represented District 2 in a way that we wanted to be represented, and I do commend you on your job. And I hope tonight that we realize how important the job she has, facing the difficult situations that she is in. It is very hard to have people that feel so strongly one way or another that you answer to, and sometimes you get the brunt of that, and I think you do an excellent job. I want to commend you on what you do, what you have done, and we hope that we can work with you again in the future.
Thank you.
Any more questions for economic development? Okay.
Thank you.
Will you stay up here?
I love it.
Yeah, don't get too comfortable. Board of Zoning Appeals.
We had a meeting in the packet, should be in your packet. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Industrial Board.
We do not have to.
I assume I need to take a motion to approve the committee and board reports.
Thanks, motion to approve.
Barnhill, Collins. We have a roll call vote though. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay.
Meeting calendar. Any changes to the meeting calendar? Ms. Donna Bradley?
The Ag Extension Committee will meet on June the 13th at 5:30 at the Extension Office. And I had sent that to Mark.
Others? Any unfinished business? Read all this? All right, next up, resolution 23-16, Hickman County, Rescue Plan Act, funds allocated towards road paving. We talked about this. I don't even remember what night it was now. I feel like I said it every other night. But the two sponsors, Commissioner Thompson, Commissioner Collins, would y'all like to speak to this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This resolution is asking to take up the $1,680,958,000, a total of $861 of 3 attachments. And I would simply ask that you throw away the one that was sent out in the packet and replace it with the one that I handed out to you tonight, because it does have the reference to the 3rd amendment. The 3rd attachment, and that is to pave some of the roads in the east end and Lower Piney River Road, and I have spoken with the managers of the roads going down to the Pinewood, to the ballpark. And there's several water lines that are in the edge of the road going down to the plant, but there is nothing that they ever dig up the roads to do. And that's from the manager and the previous manager, both said that in a discussion I had with them earlier in the week, so, I hope that, and the one attachment that's attached to the one that I gave you has attachment 3. You should have attachments 1 and 2, or whatever they're worth, to go along with it, but, we need to replace the existing, or just throw away the existing resolution that came in your packet and replace it with the one that I presented to you tonight.
Commissioner Collins?
The new resolution that Mr. Thompson is talking about does include those things that we previously, it's nothing new that we did not discuss the other night. There's nothing been added that was not asked to be put on here prior to that. I would like to say that it has been years, we've needed this for years. This is one of the, I guess you call it our showcase, where everybody brings their children to play ball on the east end of the county, and I think that we can improve that dramatically by putting this in place and improving it. And there's other things on here that needs to be done too, so that's all I have.
Any other discussion? Yes, sir.
One thing I had mentioned that Commissioner Collins and Commissioner Thompson was in regards to the road that goes in front of the ballpark. There's a lot of kids that play out there, and I tried calling Ronald today to see if we could get some speed bumps, put in while they're doing this, because it's needed. They already drive very fast through that area, and I've nearly witnessed, some kids getting hit. So I will contact Ronald before our next meeting, and hopefully be able to add or try to get those installed if this gets approved. So I yield.
Mr. Clark?
I'm not positive speed bumps are a bear to put on a public road. Most of the time when you see them, it's either a school involved or it's a private neighborhood. I share your concern. Since he's back in the room, I think we could address the man in the corner over there. That's gonna be a good fishing hole when we put that new pavement down. Won't be any trouble to write tickets out there. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Jason, but I wanted to ask you in front of everybody in here that you give it a little attention when that asphalt is laid down. Even call your friend Jeff Long if he wants to send some of his guys to help you out. Cause it's got, I don't have to, it's gonna be needed.
Absolutely, and that is not a problem. There's been several, we get so many speeding complaints now, it's hard for us to keep up with everything that's going on, so I do reach out to the Highway Patrol, Sergeant Hannah. He's really good at working with us, and I can pass it over to him, and we'll work on it.
Any other commissioners? Roll call vote.
Dusty Jordan,
Yes.
Ron Mayberry,
Yes.
Wiley McNair,
Yes.
Carla Moore,
Yes.
Ricky Murray,
Yes.
Keith Nash,
Yes.
Devin Pickard,
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill,
Yeah.
Paul Calcott,
Yes.
Danny Clark,
Yes.
Todd Collins. Yes. Wayne Thomason,
Yes.
Steve Janowski.
Yes.
13 yes, 1 absent.
13 yes, 1 absent. Any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
13 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution 23-17, authorizing the Hickman County government to enter into an interlocal agreement with the Hickman County Highway Department. This is Dusty Jordan, sponsoring, Wiley McNair. Commissioners, either one of you?
This was discussed in committee meetings, but the mayor and the highway superintendent have come to an agreement. The interlocal agreement is attached to the resolution. Basically, it's that the highway department will, at the request of the county mayor, do road work. What brought it up was moving the convenience center out east, cutting that road through there. It'll save time and money. Now, the highway commission will not, the highway department will not pull off something they're already doing to do something because of this. But it will, if you'll see in the interlocal agreement, we'll be paying for fuel and materials. The employees are already on payroll. So, and it can expedite things. We won't have to wait for the bids, we'll be saving quite a bit of money, according to the highway department, to Ronald and to Jim. So, I would urge you to vote for it. Now, there is a disclaimer, there's and then if anybody wants to amend it, it's $150,000 maximum that the mayor and highway superintendent can agree to. Anything higher than that, more than that, has to come through this body. And if anybody wants to amend that, I would be receptive to it. Make it lower, higher, whatever you want to do.
Commissioner McNair, you got anything to add?
No, I summed it up very well. I think 150,000 is a good threshold.
Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Dusty Jordan,
Yes.
Ron Mayberry,
Yes.
Wiley McNair,
Yes.
Carla Moore,
Yes.
Ricky Murray,
Yes.
Keith Nash,
Yes.
Devin Pickard,
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill,
Yes.
Paul Calcott,
Yes.
Danny Clark,
Yes.
Todd Collins. Yes. Wayne Thomason.
Yes.
Steve Janowski.
Yes.
13 yes, 1 absent.
13 yes, 1 absent. Any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
13 yes, 1 absent.
Any announcements or statements? I have a question for finance. How much time do you need before we start the next go around?
How long?
She said
You said
15.
15?
Is that,
So we're talking about after adjournment resume at 7:45?
that works good.
Stretch your legs, open them.
Did, are there any corrections or anything to the calendar? Did we go over that?
Yeah, well, the only one that I heard was, the extension meeting. Do you have another one? Do you have anything else, Dusty? Okay. Okay, all right. Then, we will reconvene at 7:45. 45. I need a motion to adjourn.
Because we know that some of them, it's not in the right place.
Thank you. All right, let's wrap that up. Okay, something's gonna wrap up.
We afraid of voting this thing, ain't we? Yeah, I think I'll be down the back here.
I would be very grateful.
Yeah, I bet you would.
You got it all worked out.
Go ahead, I don't know.
Casey, just pop out. Good evening. Thank you all so much for your patience as we try to have a little dinner before we jump into resuming our budget conversation. I will share with you that we had several texts. I've had some texts, email, some phone calls, some notes that there's some taxpayers out there who've been watching the legislative body meeting tonight, and they'd like to see this one happen as well. So the cameras are still on and up and running. I'll also put us on the same page with the goal and the intention of tonight. Yes, we were here last Thursday, 10:30, but we did pretty good. We did quite a bit of work. The intention tonight is to see if we can balance and close this budget. Excuse me. There are 4 main things left to do tonight. If you remember, we have approved and gone through all the tabs in the book except these things we need to close out tonight in order to wrap up this budget process. That is Budget 101, which is our county general. Number 127, which is ARPA. We have to approve nonprofits tonight and set the tax rate. So picking up where we left off last Thursday, we left it with some ideas. We actually had a scenario that we started working on, and we've been calling it the alternative budget. I think I got, it was late in the evening, I called it the alternative universe at one point. But in this alternative budget is where we left off, where we're actually just making suggestions and seeing what it actually does to the bottom line, as well as how it impacts our tax rate whenever we move a line item or just a line item. And that's where I'd like to pick up tonight. And when we left, what was on the table was the alternate budget, which had us at a gap of, where were we, between revenue and expenses? What was that number? Okay, Ty, I need you again.
3,325,898.
So 3.3 is the gap. 3.325, yes, that's the gap where we left last night. Now, when we started a week and a half ago, it was 5 million. So we still have some whittling to do, some creativity to sort of talk through, and some logic as well. In order for this thing to balance, we have to figure out a way how to close that 3.3. And we left right here last Thursday, and I think the last scenario request was to reduce the raises from 5% to 4% to see what that impact would have on the bottom line. I did ask Crystal this week, today, and as of Friday, had any other scenarios been called in? Did you all have any thoughts and ideas you wanted to test in this new world? And she has several tonight, which she emailed to us. So Crystal, you take us the easiest way to go through, according to how you have the alternative budget set up. And I think you and I spoke about the alternative budget with the 4% raise across the board with 5. Is that where you're gonna start tonight, or you?
Yeah, that's fine, I can go through it.
Thank you.
If you take the EMS and the sheriff's department out and just reduce the administrative employees from 5% to 4%, you're saving $17,175.
And that's taking the what out? I know you sent that.
That's just the administrative employees. It's everybody but the sheriff and the EMS.
Because we established last week that the outliers would be our public safety groups, sheriff, EMS, MA. And their raises look different. But anything other than that, for any other roles, we would take that down to 4%. And there's a 17,000.
For every percent that you increase or decrease, for those employees, it's gonna be $17,175.
$17,000 savings. Just to also bring us up to speed and on the same page, where are we right now with the tax rate number? I can't see it. Okay, I see it. All right.
To 63.35 to balance.
Okay, I see. Yes. More work to do. So Crystal, take us through the next, any conversation around this one, commissioners? Any thoughts, ideas? If not, I'd like to move to the other scenarios. Crystal, did you have one? Yes, Claude.
Yeah, could you go back to that bottom line there? We talked about this a little bit, but to me, and I understand that the 6 million,
Excuse me.
3.325, very important number. But that estimated fund balance at the end of the year, the 3,074,000, I think that's a pretty important number too. I'd like to know where everybody feels what that number could be comfortably. You said 4 million. Commissioner Nash was around the 3.5 million, I think. Because I think that needs to play in our discussion as well.
For sure, because that is gonna be a critical component, I think, could be a major lever to get us closer to that gap with a quick hit versus trying to find 50 line items to get to that amount. I mean, even if we said the fund balance right now is 6, and that's what the padded amount we've been comfortable with for the last few years, Crystal said, let's just play with 4, if it is 4 million. I mean, it does present an opportunity to have some available funds there.
And we roughly got to get rid of $1 million.
Yes, Dusty.
Are we leaving the crystal sheet now?
I'm sorry. More no, we're taking.
No, we talking about you're using the 4, right?
Yes, oh, you said 4, yes.
Well, I wanted to make another suggestion.
Okay.
Leaving out the salaries and benefits. You reduce all lines by 5%. What would that do?
It would take me a minute to go through and figure that
How long?
out. I can't tell you right off the bat. I'd have to go through and pull all the salaries out to look at that to see. I think that would be hard to do. I know for the smaller departments, and I can speak for myself, my budget's pretty tight. In some years, it may not be that hard, but it could. I think you would get a lot of budget amendments for the years where people are, computers go down, things that you just don't expect.
Well, last couple of meetings, particularly the last meeting, I've heard department heads say that they had X thousand dollars that they're gonna turn back to the county. They have, that they have not spent. So if you've got a 2-person or a 3-person office and you've got 60 or 70,000 in excess, you didn't budget it right in the first place. So I'm saying that we need to take a look at, and what would it do? I mean, even if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%, it would take you a while to do. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it'll take me just split, because I'll have to go through and pull all the salaries out. And
Casey's gonna say something.
I just want to say, you have not saw every office turning money back in.
I know that.
Okay.
I'm not pointing at you, but I will. How's that?
I actually was gonna make that point. I think there were a couple of people who mentioned that through the years, I didn't know if it was actually last, there were a couple points made that a couple of times, there might have been a couple of departments, I don't have the exact number, that only mentioned that last Thursday. I see where you're going with that. I'd like to, I've had several conversations with department heads, and they've said they are running as tight as they can with what is presented. And it is our challenge tonight to take those numbers and see how we can, close that gap. Yes, Todd?
207 is still 5%, right, on the raises, so we do have that number to adjust. 207 is still, we moved everybody down, but 207 is 4%, they're still 5. And ambulance service said that they could do without any new employees this year. Is that represent, we looked at, is that still in?
Right now, in the budgets that you're looking at, the 5% is still in here.
In every, on every
On
department?
every department. I was just showing you what it would save you if you, the scenario was, what would it save us to go to 5%? So it hasn't been taken out at this point. And, EMS employees, the way that you left it, and we left is what's in there now.
How did we leave it? Did we leave
It was
it?
9 employees,
6 months.
right, for half of the year with a 5% raise for the EMS.
What does it look like without those 9 employees?
If you look at that sheet that I gave you, suggestions, I tried to do as many scenarios as I could with the EMS. But if you, currently, if you leave the 5% in and you remove all of the new EMS employees for this year, you're saving about $374,380 because your benefits are attached to that. The employees alone is $250,000 and $124,000 in benefits.
Chris, just a question about your possible changes sheet. What is that number right there?
Okay, so that is what we were looking at over here on.
That's the bottom line?
This right here.
Expenditures, okay.
Yeah, the excess.
Yep.
So it's showing you kind of with each scenario what it would do to that.
$0.07.
So taking out all 9 part-time employees from EMS.
Full-time.
I mean, yes, I'm sorry, full-time half a year. Full-time half a year is, plus benefits will be $293.80.
No, it's the three,
That's
if
if
you
we
take
get
all of them out, it's gonna be the 374.
$374.380 all gone. But that's also taking out all new employees?
That's taking out all of the EMS.
I got that. I just want to be clear, was the other 2 new heads we added?
They're still in there. Under circuit and then the sheriff's department.
Okay, so y'all 3. So thank you for that, Todd, for that reminder, yes. All new heads removed from EMS this year, again, just crossing that bridge until we get the buildings built. That's $374.80. Understand, going down to the 4% only created a $17,000 savings. That's why she didn't apply it to this scenario yet. It means an amount, but is it material enough to have gone through that exercise? If you wanted to, that 17 would take us to 380, 390, but again, it's not as material to help us close this gap. Any other ideas, thoughts, scenarios? Yes, Wiley?
I believe on the EMS, speaking with Alan, I think if we had preferences of what we were gonna do, you were talking about just 3 employees half a year, 10%, or if we can't get the employees, I think he'd be happy with just the 10%, but he's more happy with the raise than he is employees if he had to have a choice of one or the other.
Okay.
Now, just my personally, I know I've been, and I understand we got tight budget, we gotta do what we gotta do, but as far as the building, I've been in every meeting that we ever had. The last one we had, we all agreed it should be done somewhere around December, so I don't know, I think a lot of people are hoping for failure. I'm more like optimistic for, success other than hoping for failure, so, the last discussions we had, it should be done around probably December, January, so that's why we were talking about trying to get a few employees before we got to next June. We don't have to go through this again, but he said, you know, as it is, with everybody understanding what we gotta do with the budget, that he'd rather have the raise than employees.
Okay. Thank you, Matthew.
I agree with taking the employees out and giving them 10% raise and put it in the budget.
I guess you have 290 number.
Yeah, and keep all the other employees at 5%.
Did y'all hear Matthew? Take out all the employees, the new employees from EMS, keep their 10% raise, and keep all other raises at 5%. Other thoughts?
Just to be clear, you're only mentioning ambulance service, Carla.
Yes.
You're talking about sheriff and ambulance service, right? At 10%?
The sheriff is already at 10%.
Yes,
Right,
sheriff.
but I'm
Yeah.
just saying keep, okay.
Yeah, keep them at 10%.
Yes. Because we was using this line that was just for EMS, yes. Other ideas, commissioners? Because with that, again, we're at 3. I'm sorry, 10% raise, no new employees. 293. Yes, Mike
Let's
Lane.
remember these 1 through 5, so that we all can keep up with which one we're on.
Oh, yes, for sure. So,
So you're talking about number 2?
look, let's do that. Look.
Is there any way to split that screen, Crystal? I know I'd make it murder on your end, but when we were looking at 2, could you?
No, I can't.
Okay.
To Michael Wayne's point, the 5 scenarios under EMS employees, let's just literally number those numerically as they're listed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, when we're referencing which scenario. But right now, what's on the table is the 10% raise, no new employees. That's the second scenario. That's another scenario number 2. It's also been suggested that we get some motions on the floor. Let's see what happens. Let's get some activity, some movement. Is anyone comfortable with something they've seen, or you still want to have contributions or commentary to where we have right now?
I thought we were finished with the nonprofits. Is that?
We are, but we have to vote. We got it down on paper. We didn't vote. In fact, we got that last one. We ran out of here at 10:30 Thursday.
And,
Yes, Crystal, please.
and this one doesn't show the benefits, but it I went through a couple of the different scenarios to show you what it would look like for the EMS budget, if you want me to run through that. I don't.
Yes, so that's budget number. 55130. Wait, yes, 55130. And this will not be the only budget, clearly, we'll have to do this with. We'll start here, thank you.
On the first one, this is what it would look like with a 10%, and no employees. And I did put the new employees in a different line so that y'all could clearly see those, so that we could adjust those a little easier.
Okay.
The next scenario is gonna be, the 5% raise that's already in there, and then taking out all the new employees. So that's gonna be the savings of the 250 plus the benefits, so that's 374, 380.
option one.
That's option one.
Right, 'cause
It's a little different order on this one.
right, it's option one. Option two is 10% raise, guys. Scenario two is a 10% raise, no employees. Scenario one is, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Alan?
Crystal, on, my part-time employees, you can drop that back down to 150 because I was planning on having to, have some extra manpower in with those employees.
Okay,
So you can drop that back down to.
so are y'all okay with me changing that?
Yeah, I have to say it.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, I forgot where we were at. The next scenario, that we're looking at with the EMS, it doesn't save as much, but it is, a 10% raise and leave the 9 new employees in at half the year. So that one's actually gonna add an additional $88,000.
Yes, and I'd like to make a suggestion. Anything with new employees on at this point, we're done.
Okay.
Meaning if, I mean, we can talk about it, but I'm saying spending time around no new employees has got us to where we have this gain in our, this win in our deficit right now. Unless you want to see a higher budget than we have right now. You see do you want to see the budgets that has higher numbers in it? Because I'd like to see, Chris, I'd like to see us go through the budgets, if there's any other lines of scenarios or ideas that people may have with other budgets. There was a.
Nail this one down, down.
I think we have. I think we have.
Alright.
So to see with the employees, it makes sense to go that way. So to Matthew's point, it was either gonna be 5% raise, no employees, or 10% raise with no employees. And I think we like scenario two. Plus what you just change you just made, Crystal, which was what? Which line was that?
That was your part-time line, 169.
Okay, now let's take a look at where we are now.
So do you want me to change it to 5% or 10%?
No, we're at 10% raise, no employees.
Okay.
And the line you just adjusted.
It'll take me just a minute to make the changes for the.
That's fine. What we're looking for is the savings amount, the amount that we've just recaptured. And commissioners, are there any other budgets we can look at? Oh, good. They're doing the ad, I know they're ad. It's hard to hear a point when they're trying to add numbers.
I'm almost there.
It's all right, we're with you.
We done had supper, we're good. Some of some chips, we're good.
And that's at 3,010,518.
Okay. That's scenario two with your added change, and So now the gap is down to 3 million. Okay. Riley had something for us.
Yes, I just want to, on this discussing about what we're doing to EMS, no new employees at 10%. Talking to Todd earlier, is one thing we should do is at least get commitment that, you know, we all voted to build this building. We all voted to get a new ambulance. When this building's built, at some point, everybody agrees that we are gonna fund some new employees out there to run the place. You know, it's not like we go, next time we come back, we still don't have any money. I mean, we're gonna do that, we might as well not build a building, so we all agree that at some point we plan on funding these employees.
Absolutely, I think they're inextricable. I don't think we can agree to build a building and not put anybody to run it.
I hope not.
And I think the conversation, that I've been having throughout the week, and people are calling me, is that, yes, of course, we're gonna need new employees for this new building, but let's cross that bridge when we get there, meaning when the building is up. We don't know the exact time, and we can make a budget amendment. We could do that through budget amendment to get some heads in that building to get it working. Which is actually a good point back to why we need the pad. We may not need $6 million in our general fund, but you know, what are we comfortable with? And we good with 4 million as a pad? But I think that was certainly cover heads.
When we get to the bridge.
No, it's a good point. No, that was a great, no, we gotta make sure. Gotta make sure, good point. So I think we've picked EMS as thin as we can right now. Any other thoughts on EMS? Yes, Ms. Crystal.
I know on the contracted service, Alan, we raised that up a little more because of the new building. I think we could potentially bring it back down to the 235. It's not a lot, but it's a little.
Which line item, Crystal?
399.
$399. $250,000. And you're saying we could reduce it because of?
He increased it due to the new building, and we don't have the new building yet. So I think we could, we did have to increase it this year, so I wouldn't take it back down to the 190, but I think you could comfortably take it down to the 235.
235, that's another 15,000. Okay, is everybody okay with that suggestion? And doing so, our new number looks like our gap reduces to, we're about another 15.
$2,995,518.
2009. 2995, is that 2998?
2995.
Thank you.
518.
Okay. Commissioners, any thoughts, suggestions, ideas? I was given another suggestion to look at some large line items. Like, let's get back to the top of this budget, look at big dollar line items and see if these numbers are actually, or could be adjusted. Now, I do get that department heads are not all here, but just as it was easy to look and find that $250,000 in EMS, are there big line items that we can get, that we can look at or draw our attention to see if these are numbers that are adjustable? So, can we talk about whether we think the sheriff budget is where it is, as tight as it can be? Are we in agreement there? I think or are there other thoughts? In fact, Danny,
On the sheriff's budget, is that where we're going now?
I was getting ready to go, I'm getting ready to go public safety, the biggest budget start first.
Well, I just wanted to understand, where are we on the sheriff's budget? 10% raises, no new employees on the patrol side? 10% raises on the jail side, no new employees? And that there was $10,000 to up the jail administrator's pay, that's vacant.
Remember that one?
And there was one full-time employee coming out of a part-time on the sheriff's jail side. Did all that make it in?
Let's ask Crystal.
In that late night?
Where are we? It was late night. What did get on the board?
I think everything made it in except for the additional $10,000 for the jail administrator.
That was the way I was remembering it. It was
Okay.
a long night.
Let's turn our attentions to the sheriff budget, please. What's that number? Line number?
54110.
54110?
I'm sorry, 54210 is the jail side.
54210. It's right below sheriff. I remember seeing that. Yeah, total jail. Yeah, sheriff. Okay. Yes.
And I don't understand how it works or anything, and I probably do. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I can tell you what my salary is now. And my understanding, July 1st, state mandate, that's going up.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just put that back to the general fund and not take that?
Do what?
I would not recommend that.
You trying to give us some money?
Yes.
I don't think you can.
I don't have a problem
Keith
doing
may
it.
know better than me or somebody else
I
in the
mean,
room.
if you wanna turn around and donate, write a check back to the county, you can. I mean, you as a person, so they can't, she's gonna have to write you, do a payroll, however, direct deposit, that exact amount.
We thank you for your, generosity, but no thank you. Can't do it anyway. Yes.
And I apologize. Where we're at right now, could you just roll it to the bottom one more time and just kind of see where we're at? With everything that we talked about.
299,000.
Make it just a little bit bigger. That's great.
And I can see that.
And I guess I wanna ask this, what does this right now not have that somebody wants to see in, not something that they wanna see out of it,
Right.
but what's not in this that somebody wants to have in?
I'm
That
thinking it's the
$10,000?
$10,000 to up the jail administrator's pay to attract it.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, where is that line item?
It's 54210, 160.
It's 160, okay, it's on the guard. Oh, but it's all in there, okay.
Yeah,
You had
it's
to put them all
all
together.
together.
Oh, yeah.
We would just have to add.
But that'd be a plus 10, yes, now I remember that. Good question, though. Makes us think, is there anything else that should be added to make sure we capture the most important things that we wanted to have in here from last Thursday, which seems like a month ago. Yes, Crystal?
Do y'all want me to add that?
Of the 10,000 into the, it's a suggestion, and I say I'd like to. Where's the salary now? Because we can't, I can't see it's not extracted out here. Do you remember what it was?
Not right offhand.
Can't remember it either. I mean, we didn't see it broken out.
I don't know, we were just adding some extra money in there to try to raise that.
Right. Are there any objections to put the 10 back in? I mean, to put the 10 in? Thoughts? You want to try ideas, thoughts? Opinions? To put the 10 in for the increased salary for the jailer, for the, yes.
Danny said yes.
Right, but there's an agreement, there's thank you, let's put, thank you, Crystal. We will put the 10 in for the jailer's increased salary. Thank you. While we're here at the sheriff's budget, again, we're looking through line items. I feel like that we are, again, we're pretty tight. We lost some heads.
Is that taking the administrator from part-time to full-time, I'm sorry?
Yeah.
It is.
Yes.
Right, where'd you see that?
Right there.
Oh, it is. Thoughts, yes.
I wonder, I mean, does everybody, what about 2 million out of fund balance? What would that put us, you know, if we took 2 million out of fund balance? Put us $1 million in deficit to raise taxes. What is that, 20-cent tax cut? Close to it.
I'd love to see it. You know what, can we just try
Any
it?
ideas where to cut it?
I was gonna say, but and that's the thing. Can we, right, everybody says like this. Can we all agree to just try to look at it, see what it does to the tax rate?
Or if we just raise taxes 5%, like we raised the budget, and then see how much we have to pull out of fund balance for the 5%.
It's calculated, right, it's calculated one way or the other.
They said take 2 million out.
It would take 2 million out of fund balance, take us down to 4, see what it does to the tax rate.
We're still looking at about a 19-cent tax increase.
Wait, what'd you say?
About 19 cents, a little over 19 cents.
So if we done a 5% tax rate, 5%, how much would we have to pull out fund balance to make the difference up there?
So if you do, say that again.
A 5% tax, like 5% on the tax rate.
About 12.
Be like 11 and a half.
Yeah, about 12.
So what would we have to pull out fund balance if we've done a 12-cent tax hike, is what I was kind of
To
wondering.
back into it.
Really, it's what fund balance we left with, right?
Yeah, either way, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It's calculated one way or the other.
Yes, well,
You can go back.
y'all's
into-
looking at it from 2 different sides.
Yeah, the same thing.
Yeah.
And then-
It's all the same as you did.
So is it 5%?
So it would be about $630,000 is what 12 cents would be.
It'd be about 2.5 out of.
Did you get that by multiplying by the 52,
Is that
5, 60?
What was that again? I'm sorry.
Did you take by the value of the penny?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody's going through the cheat sheet that tells you kind of,
Checking your math. I'm just kidding.
well, you might overtime.
Mhm. So bring us back up to speed again, bring us back, focus to what you said, point 12.
Okay, so for 12 cents, it would bring in an additional $630,048.60.
12 cents would bring in 630,000.
So it would reduce your deficit by that.
So what would that leave in fund balance?
Right, if we take that out of fund balance.
If we take the rest out of fund balance?
That'd be about 2.3.
Out of fund balance?
Not balance, just out.
So then.
That's what it'll take.
Which
out
leave
of
it,
that.
2.3, just
So
leave.
if you take this
1, 2, leave 4.1? I mean, what do we leave in fund balance?
You're doing it, I can't think about it any other way. What happened to you, so.
yeah, it'd be around 4.1, but that's not the exact.
I can make a motion. But as a chair, I can't make, I don't think I can make a motion. Wait. Oh, yes. Keith.
So are we put the 10,000 back in?
Yeah.
So I'm just asking a question. Are we at a point in this now where we've all just kind of played and kind of massaged it, kind of getting close, that we ought to move from making suggestions into making motions. And seeing if that, I know this is a laborious process, but making motions to see if there's the support for whatever scenario will be out there in order to change those numbers. I'm just asking, because I mean, we at some point in time, we're gonna have to go from being informal to formal.
Well, no, of course, absolutely.
And so I didn't know if we were close enough to start that process.
Yeah, all we have to do is just pass it like it's presented on the board, right? I mean, we gonna have to make a motion to change all the numbers or just present it like?
Yeah, I think if this is the starting spot, then we can just figure out what everybody wants to do. I mean, literally, somebody could make a motion, if we move out of this informal and say, I make a motion that we approve the budget that's on that board, then there's an up or down vote.
Yeah.
And you know, it is what it is. Everybody sees what the final numbers are. But if that doesn't occur, or if somebody wants to make a motion to adjust something, maybe we have got to that point that we can move out of this. I'm just.
Yes.
Are we gonna do this in the budget with no tax increase, working on the reserve, and then have a discussion on what portion of it should be a tax increase that should come out of the, solve one problem at a time, that is what I'm getting at. But I've sat over here next to Claude, and he's got me, the only thing I'm seeing is how much is left in the fund balance. I'm not worried, that's not the right word. I'm not paying that close attention to what we're spending. My objective is to get that number to $4 million.
Mm-hmm.
One way or another. If we can get it there.
And we got there.
If we can find some cuts to get it there, that would be fine, but.
What's up there now, we are there at 4.1. But to your point, one more point, nonprofits, is it rolled in here?
Yes.
Okay. And what's up there now has 4.1 in fund balance.
It's actually gonna be a little bit less than that, it's just gonna be a little over 4 million.
But just north of 4, but still 4, and,
But she's saying it won't be.
wait, what?
With the 12 cents, it would be right at 4, just a little over.
Yeah.
But 12 cents is not up here.
Yeah.
And we have 5%, right, 5% property tax. 630 comes from the 12 cents, I mean, we get the 630,000, plus what we're gonna take, from fund balance to close the gap, would leave a little bit north of 4, or did you say shy of 4?
It would be north of 4,
Okay.
it's like 4,024,000 or something.
Okay, now part 2, moving to a motion, or getting someone to move toward motion. Danny, you mentioned two different, pathways here. What are we doing what's recommended first?
I don't have a recommendation, I would just, whatever we're gonna do with each line item, when we get through with that, we're gonna have the discussion on what part of it's gonna be paid out of reserve and what part of it's gonna be a tax increase. Are we through with the first part yet? Because right now it takes a 12-cent tax increase for the reserve to be where most of these people
That's right,
be comfortable.
12 cents tax.
And nobody's expressed how comfortable they are with the 12-cent tax increase.
We have not, but this is what's on the board right now. And I haven't heard yes, no, motion to create some emotion. But this is what's up there now, and we do have that in the fund balance, but it is a 12 cents for 5% tax increase, but we gained 630,000 to help close this gap.
Mr. Moore?
Yes, sir. Also, I can't see.
I'd like to make a motion that we take a 5-minute recess.
And second, it's been moved by Keith and seconded by Claude. Take a 5-minute recess. Oh, which will bring us back to 8:50. listen, I like that. But I think. And as you're making your way to your seats, be thinking about the motions you want to make. Commissioners?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Any motions on the floor? I believe we've have spoken, quite a bit about what point are we, and are we ready to make some motions? And my recommendation is yes, we are there. We've looked at everything. We still have to look more to look, but can we get a motion on the floor so we can create some action, some activity on this budget, create some movement? Because right now, we have been operating, just as a reminder, we've been operating as us making suggestions and seeing these suggestions impact the budget on the board just to see how the numbers would shake out. And after 2 nights, it's time for us to see what a motion would, can create for us as far as movement. And a more, streamlined discussion, yes. Yes, Miss?
I don't know if it's proper for me to speak. I'm designated to be the director of schools on July 1st, and I have spoken to Mr. Gilbert about this. What I'm about to say is unorthodox in a way, because in the school district, you don't want to give up property tax revenue. However, I have been at the last 3 of these meetings, and I understand the conundrum and I understand the valuable services that people across the county and all these departments are providing, and I understand your need to pay them more. A couple of meetings ago, there was a motion to take 2 cents property tax from the school district, which is somewhere around $110,000, $105,000. And I appreciate that didn't pass. However, after seeing where you are and how close you are, and I am speaking without the benefit of having communicated with the Board of Education. The school board is going to be in a legal, financial, difficult spot because the legislature passed a law this year. By 2027, the starting salary for teachers has to be $50,000. It's currently $44,100. Is that correct?
State law's 42 this year.
Yeah.
We're about that.
Yeah, we're at 40, yeah. So we gotta raise that. But to help you with your budget, I think the school district could render the 2 cents, knowing that we're gonna have to come legally required and help, and ask your help to get us back to comply with the law. And sitting here, an observation, I know you're close. The other day, somebody said if you could get, you were comfortable going down to 4 million in your fund balance, somebody else said 3.5. So, I never thought I'd stand at a public meeting and say what I'm saying. The school district, because of this fund balance, can function this year without those 2 pennies. If those 2 pennies help you do what all you're trying to do across the county, across all these agencies, to do right by people and to finalize your budget. And again, it's kind of a little bit precarious because I am speaking without benefit of having any board members here. But Ms. Gilbert and I talked about it, and so that's where my stance is on it.
Mr. Mullins, thank you so much for your collaboration and partnership. Let me ask you, how do you plan to execute a meeting with the board, and how much time would you need to Have that conversation with them.
The next regularly scheduled board meeting is June 5th. I don't know if that works for you.
No.
Or maybe we can have a special call meeting.
Yes, because, Crystal, what's our,
Drop dead date.
right, and what's the date?
That's what the board may tell me.
They actually might. When?
To stay on schedule.
To stay on schedule.
We need to make.
Say that again,
We need
please.
to finalize ours this week.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
This week.
We need to finalize it this week to stay on schedule. Now, we can always push things back. But our public hearing is scheduled for June 5th. And it's gotta be put in the paper and.
So we're required by law to give 48 hours notice, for an emergency meeting. So if we gave notice at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, we can have the meeting at 8 o'clock on Thursday morning. I'm way out on a limb here.
But I know.
But I'm trying, as I will always, I'm trying to see the whole picture, and I'm trying to be a partner with each and every one of you.
Okay. Yes, Steve.
Correct me if I'm wrong, we can make that adjustment tonight. You do not have to have board approval for that. You just have to have board approval to pass a budget, correct?
Yes, you can't make the motion.
You can deny the budget, you can reject our.
Yeah, we can
Correct.
reject, but.
And then it has to go back to them
To
for approval.
tweak, yes.
I guess what I was hopeful is that you would let me present it to the board.
Of course, I get that.
Before you deny it.
Gotcha.
And that way, it could be where we gain more unity and it could be more palatable.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. McElwain.
Looking at the sheriff, he offered to give up his
Long
raise.
salary.
Looking at the new director, he offered to give up 2 cents. We have fought this battle many, many times over the years with the school system and the county court, and saying, we're not gonna give you an extra penny, or because we'll have to give it forever. I don't know what more to say. You know, I think his statement and his statement both, speaks volumes about what this court should do. Our county court has reduced itself from 21 to 14 members. So we've done our part, but we need to belly up to the bar.
Okay. Thank you for that. Any other commentary?
Crystal, can you go down to the bottom line, please, ma'am?
It hadn't changed.
I can't remember. It's changed 6 times on my notes. I tell you that.
We've had no changes.
So read that out. Are we at 2?
We're still at.
Oh, that's a 3-0.
I have not put any tax increase in there.
I think that's a wise move right now. As far as the schedule goes, and I know that we need to stay on schedule. This wouldn't be the first time in Hickman County government history that we got off schedule. But I think we're real close, and I'm tempted to make a motion that we recess until we hear from the school board. I was about to make a motion to deny the school board budget with the recommendation that they pull 2 cents property tax, but he offered the olive branch, and so we can do it that way. But that's where I think I'm at, because they're not saying that we all might go home and find, a little bit here and there, but I think we're pretty close. That's why I was asking about the schedule. We could recess and.
Okay. McElwain, yes.
Like Steve said, we can make the change whether the school system admits to it or not until they have their meeting. And like Michelle said, we can pass the budget to reduce the school's budget by the 2 cents, whether they are, the board agrees with it or not.
Right, without denying the budget, you're saying? You're
Right.
saying just make it a scenario,
Right.
right? Yes, Mr. Moses?
If chronologically waiting till we can have a special call meeting on Thursday, then it becomes the board is giving to the benefit of the county.
Sure.
Instead of the commission is
This is
taking
why,
from the
yes.
school board, which is a whole better perspective
Yes.
for everyone involved.
And I absolutely understand that. Yep, yes, Keith.
I could not concur more. I think that what we need to do, we're close, and I imagine everybody's got maybe a little tweak here and a little tweak there. But I think that I will not vote to deny the school board's budget. What I will is have a motion make a motion to recess and let them have the lead, and for us to recess until Friday.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Nash, seconded by Commissioner Calicut, to recess this budget meeting until Friday after the school, this Friday. It's good. This Friday, wrong calendar. I'm gonna get it right.
do it Thursday.
Yeah. Oh, you wanna do it Thursday? You wanna do it? Wait a minute, we're in the middle of a motion. Let's get to the discussion part first, wait a minute. Until this Friday, recess until this Friday after the board meets, after the board, the school board meets for their special call meeting this Friday, May 26th. All in favor? All opposed?
No.
Any discussion?
No. Yeah, I'm opposed. I can't be here Friday.
I can't either.
Yeah.
Can't be here
I don't
Friday.
It's be here Thursday.
Okay, so that's, so now we're,
Thursday or Monday, but I
well,
can't
we're
be
at the
here Friday.
discussion portion, so let's talk about it. If Friday doesn't work, what's a better day? We've got
Monday the holiday. Yeah.
About Thursday.
Monday's Memorial Day, Thursday the 25th.
No, there's another meeting that night, need to attend.
Oh, that's your, okay. Okay, then Monday's Memorial Day, 29th. Then we're at May 30th, Tuesday. We're at Tuesday, May 30th, next available evening. Conversation, discussion, how is Tuesday looking?
It don't work mine either. I have laser surgery that day, so I'm not dying. Y'all go on without me.
I don't think I like your vote anyway.
Yeah.
What meeting is Thursday night?
The TDEC, public hearing.
TDEC public hearing is Thursday. Some people can't make it Friday. Monday's a holiday. Yes, Mr. Moses?
Ms. Gilbert and I were just discussing the fact that, we have 2 school board members on vacation. We have to have 4. So,
Oh, boy.
it's okay, it's okay. So what I'm saying is, if your meeting were one day next week, it would give us a larger window to make sure we have a full.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right. So we changing,
I'm gonna
amend your,
we'll make a motion to call for a roll call vote, that we recess until Tuesday at 5.
do we have a second? It's been moved by Commissioner Nash and seconded by Commissioner Collins that we recess this meeting until Tuesday, this budget meeting until Tuesday, May 30th at 5:30? Oh, 5, you said 5. 5 p.m., that's the motion. 5 p.m. All in favor?
Roll call.
Oh, so he did say that. Roll call vote, please.
Matt Barnhill,
No.
Paul Calcott,
Yes.
Danny Clark,
Yeah.
Todd Collins.
Yes.
Steve Giannakis.
Yes.
Dusty Jordan,
Yes.
Ron Mayberry,
No.
Ron McNair,
Yes.
Carla Moore,
Yes?
Ricky Murray,
Yes.
Keith Nash,
Yes.
Devin Pickard,
Yes.
Wayne Thomason.
Yes.
11 yes, 2 noes, 1 absent.
11 yes, 2 noes, 1 absent. It has been agreed that we will recess until next Tuesday, right here at 5 o'clock. We're not done.
Did you have a scheduling conflict?